How's it going, y'all? TexanTrout here. Today I'm joining you from the back side of my car. I'm not going to be doing any fishing today, but I did want to talk to you guys about one of the deadliest bass fishing techniques I've ever come across, and that would be called Senkos / stick baits / wacky rigging. I'm also going to include a tutorial in this video on how to wacky rig because I feel like that's very important. But today we're at Bass Pro. Oh my goodness, I forgot you guys can't even see it. Hold on. But today we're at Bass Pro Shops because I don't know if you guys noticed, but my worm box is looking a little depleted. Right now all I've got are watermelon red, baby bass. Oh man, this thing is a veteran, look at it. I'm pretty sure this is the stick bait I caught that one big bass on in that golf course in my very first video. And then I've got these oddly shaped June bug stick worms. So today I'm gonna be filling up these 3 slots, probably with some curly tails, maybe with some Senkos. And I'll be seeing you guys inside of Bass Pro. Typically I prefer the Senkos when it comes to stick baits because the action is better, but they don't actually have any in green pumpkin, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the Sticko worms and green pumpkin blue flake. Alright, as for curly tail worms, I'm going to be going with these green pumpkin violet Bass Pro Shop brand ribbon tail worms. I'm going to grab these June bug flavored ones too. Y'all check this out, apparently Bass Pro has bluegill swim baits now. I'm gonna take one out, hold up. Okay, they're actually called the pesky perch, but look at these things. Freaking weird. I don't even know how you would rig something like this. Oh my goodness, look at this. The shad clone. Every time I come here, I find new lures. This place is crazy, man. Oh my goodness. Guys, I don't know what the heck this thing is. Look at this. The freestyle jig? Dude, what is going on with these hooks? There she is, y'all. Tex-mobile, or the Trout-mobile. I don't know what to call it. Let's call her the Fiskingwagen. Alright, so here I am back at home. I've got my Bass Pro Shops goodies right here. And I'm going to be giving you guys a tutorial on how to rig these up. And I'm going to be explaining why I chose these colors and when to throw these colors. Alright, so first off, I've got these green pumpkin violet ribbon tail worms. When the light hits it, you can really see that violet flake. So this will be our more natural color. I usually like to get 2 colors for both water clarities. So the more natural color, the green pumpkin, is going to be for clear water, obviously. And the much darker, less natural color June bug will be for dirty water. In clear water, you'd pick a more natural color because the fish can easily see this in the water. If you're fishing a more flashy, less natural color like June bug in clear water, sometimes the fish just simply won't commit to this color because it's not natural enough. For instance, if I was to come across a real clear water farm pond, I would probably throw these watermelon red flakes, or the previously mentioned green pumpkin violet. If I was fishing an urban pond, let's say with perhaps green water, maybe a duck pond, or maybe a muddy basin of some sort, I'd be throwing these June bug colored worms. Typically the darker the color, the better the silhouette in murky water. Now the last thing I got were these green pumpkin blue flake Sticko worms. They're essentially the same color as these ones, but with blue flake instead of violet. Alright, so let's go ahead and fill this box up, and I will be explaining what this tool is with the rigging portion of this video. Alright y'all, this worm box turned out absolutely beautiful. Got a nice selection of natural colors, got a nice selection of in-your-face, kind of dark colors. Alright y'all, so I'm going to be teaching you how to wacky rig these worms. In my very valueless opinion, I believe that there's only 2 ways to rig a Senko. Number 1 is wacky rigging. Number 2 is Texas rigging. Now, wacky rigging and Texas rigging both have their purposes and should be used separately for their own reasons. But I personally prefer wacky rigging. I think wacky rigging is the most effective rigging, and it also brings out the best action in the Senko, which if you haven't ever seen the action on a Senko, they do this weird wiggling thing on their way down, kind of like that. A lot of the time you'll get hit on the fall when it comes to a Senko simply because of the action. I personally feel like Texas rigs can kill the action to some degree, but that's just my opinion. Wacky rigs will get you hung up in a lot of stuff. It has a huge exposed hook on it. Texas rigging is just completely weedless. You're not going to have to worry about getting hung up on stuff very often. With me today I have my Seaguar fluorocarbon. I put a black mat down in hopes that you guys should be able to see this. Now for terminal tackle. Typically when you wacky rig a Senko, you do it weightless. I feel like it has the best action when you do it weightless. I feel like the weight kind of drags it down a little too fast and ruins the action. So as far as hooks go, I like to use these XPS wacky worm hooks, or I like to use size 1 owner mosquito hooks. When it comes to wacky rigging, I like to keep the hook size pretty small. I feel like it penetrates the best. You really don't have to set the hook very hard when you're using small gauge hooks like this. Here we go, little tiny hook. All right, now first things first, you want to get this hook on your line. I like to use the palomar knot personally. I feel like it's the most versatile. And if you guys don't know how to make a palomar knot, I will be showing you how right now. First things first, you're going to take your hook and you're going to take your line and you're going to run your line through the eye on that hook. And once you've got it through, pull it out. I want to say probably around a foot. You probably don't need this much line. I'm just clumsy and I tend to mess the knot up. And next thing you're going to want to do is run the line back through the eye hole. Then you want to run the hook just about halfway through that doubled up line. Next thing you're going to do, take your loop end, you're going to run it behind the line, just like that. Then you're going to take that loop end and put it through to make a circle, to make a hoop kind of like that. Then once you got that, pull it tight. Now you're going to take this big loop end and run it around the hook like that. And once it's all lined up, cinch it shut, and boom. You're going to want to go ahead and get rid of the excess tag line. So go ahead and take your nail clippers or your teeth if you're daring. Alright, so with the tag end clipped off, now you have a finished palomar knot. Alright y'all, step number 2. So the thing that makes wacky rigging unique comes down to the O-ring you put around the body of the worm. You can get these rubber O-rings on Amazon, or you can go to Bass Pro where I got them from. You may be asking yourself, how do you get the ring in the center of the worm? You can either push it up the center of the worm, or you can go all fancy smancy like me and get an O-ring tool. With an O-ring tool, you just slide the worm inside of it, push one of these O-rings up, and boom, puts it right on the worm for you. So when it comes to Senkos, I have one very important tip that not many people know. So before you rig your Senko, just hold it up straight out in front of you. Whichever direction it's bending towards, you want to rig it on the back of that, on the arch. You just want to take your hook and slide it underneath the O-ring. The wacky rig is finished. So when this Senko's in the water and you twitch your rod tip, it's going to look something like that in the water. It's going to do a bouncing motion kind of like that. And on the way down, it'll flutter and fish will destroy that on the way down. I've caught some of the biggest fish on Senkos. I've got some of the hardest bites I've ever gotten on Senkos, and I get bit on them all the time, no matter what the season is. Personally, my favorite setup to throw Senkos on was my ultralight combo, but she's kind of out of service right now. But if you guys follow this tutorial, you wacky rig it right, and you get out there on the banks, you will catch fish on this rig. I promise you guys will catch fish on this rig. This is one of the easiest rigs to fish. It is a great beginner rig. Anytime I take someone new fishing with me, I always put them on a wacky rig Senko. And yeah, it's guaranteed to catch fish, man. Alright, looks like that's probably going to be the end of this video. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and I will be seeing you on the next one. Peace.